Hi, this is going to be a video about the basics of macros. Carbs, protein, fats. What are they? What do they do? What are their, properties? So, start off with everyone's favorite, carbs. So, carbohydrates are a source of fuel for your body. It gives your body energy that it uses right away. Your body can also store carbohydrates in your liver. Your liver stores extra carbohydrates as glycogen, and they release it later when your body needs it. However, your liver can only store a certain amount of glycogen, and then once your liver has reached that amount, your body turns that extra carbohydrate into fat. Carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, so figuring that out. Carbohydrates, they are the quickest form of energy, and 100% of them gets turned into glycogen, glucose. When you consume carbohydrates, the food that is converted into the sugars enters the bloodstream. And that's how they are used, either immediately for energy or they're stored in the body cells to use it another time in the liver. There are a couple different types of carbohydrates: healthy carbs or complex carbs, and then simple carbs, which are the not so healthy carbs. So complex carbs are slower to digest. Those are things like multigrain bread, lentils, brown rice, beans. It raises the blood sugar slowly versus giving it a spike, and it lasts longer. So it's more of a spike, a sugar spike, I guess, versus going like this, and getting a crash, or a complex carbohydrate is going to go more like this, kind of a more even-keeled, longer wave, if you will. This keeps you from feeling hungry for a longer time, keeps you fuller longer, and it keeps your blood sugar levels closer to normal. The simple carbs are going to be things like candy, cookies, white flour, white sugar, things like that, soda, things like that are simple carbohydrates. These are fast-acting carbs, and it raises the blood sugar levels very quickly, but it doesn't last very long, and it crashes. So these carbs, they work well to correct low blood sugar, but they don't satisfy hunger as well as healthy carbs. So if you have very low blood sugar and you need to kind of bring it up, simple carbs will bring it up fast, but then it also has to, sustain. So you want to not only do that, otherwise you're going to spike right back down. Next macronutrient is fats. Fats, out of all the macronutrients, has the most calories. There's 9 calories per gram of fat. Fat also gives your body energy, but it only turns about 10% of the fat into glucose, which is sugar to use for energy. By itself, it doesn't have much impact on blood sugar, fats by themselves. When you eat fat with a carbohydrate, it can slow the rise in blood sugar, but just fat by itself doesn't really change blood sugar that much. So there's a couple of different kinds of fats as well. There's actually multiple different kinds. Monosaturated or polyunsaturated fat. These fats are liquid at room temperature. Things like nut oils, avocado, things like that. Most monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats are going to be plant-derived, usually avocados, things like that. But it also includes things that have omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, a couple other types of fish as well. Those are the healthy fats. And then when you talk about unhealthy fats, move this a little bit, my notes. Okay. Unhealthy fats, saturated fats, trans fats. Saturated fats are fats that come from animals, typically meat, dairy products, things like that. These fats are solid at room temperature. Hardened fats, these can cause damage to your heart and arteries. Another thing about dairy products is that they tend to increase inflammation as well in the body, so that's something to keep in mind. Trans fats are used to extend the shelf life of many processed foods. It's also found in fast foods, fries, things like that. Basically, it helps foods stay fresher longer, but they are also not good for you. And the last one, the most important one in my opinion, not most important, but the one that most people talk about and the one that I think is extremely important, is protein. Protein also has 4 calories per gram, like carbohydrate. Protein provides your body with building blocks called amino acids for building muscle. Also builds other structures in your body, such as brain, nervous system, blood, skin. It builds all of these things and processes inside of your body. That is what amino acids do in your body. Protein also serves as a transport for oxygen and other nutrients within the body. And there's 2 different kinds of proteins. There's complete proteins and there's incomplete proteins. Complete proteins, they actually contain all the amino acids that your body needs in appropriate amounts for the most part. Meat, chicken, seafood, those are the most common complete proteins. Eggs and milk are also complete proteins. And then incomplete proteins are going to be proteins that have some amino acids but not all of them. And these are going to be things like plant-based proteins. Those are typically incomplete proteins. And they need to be consumed together with the missing proteins in order to get all of the amino acids that your body needs. Nuts, seeds, grains, things like that, they have protein in them, but they are not complete proteins. Protein is really important for your body for growth, maintenance, also for energy. Protein can be stored and is used mostly by your muscles. And then your body changes about 60% of protein into glucose. So you do get energy from that as well. And then protein takes about 3 to 4 hours to affect your blood sugar level. So it's not like a carb where it's going to spike it. It's more of a kind of like that longer wave as well, like complex carbs. So foods that are mostly protein will not cause much of a rise in your blood sugar. Protein is also extremely important. It's mostly used by your muscles. When it comes to weight loss and things like that, when you have muscles and you have more muscle tissue, your body's able to burn more calories at rest than if you were to just not have any muscle. And muscles also where you get that lean toned figure, things like that. So there's a lot to be said about protein, and it's a really important macronutrient to not only be eating, but be eating enough of in order to hit your goal. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, let me know.